Good afternoon, everybody. We are sold out again. We're like super extra mega sold out at 750 people, and that's incredible. And it's exciting for us to be a part of. I believe, if I did my math right, which I'm just okay at math, this is the 11th year that we have been the sponsor. I'm so grateful to John, and I'm especially grateful to the person I believe I referred to her last year as my favorite person in the world. A year later, still true. Aaron Riley, the EDCO events director, who makes amazing things happen. And it's very easy with the work that she and her team do for us to continue to be a part of that. I'm curious if there's anyone here who's at the annual luncheon for the first time ever. Wow, thank you so much. That's a really great show of hands. I'm curious if there's anyone here who knows that they have been to at least 10 of these annual luncheons. The veterans. That's great. Did any of you make the same mental note you made last year, which next year I really need to get here 10 minutes earlier? Because it's really kind of a thing that's happening. We're a sponsor, which means I have free stuff that I just want to point out to you. Some lip balm, these little green things. This is on your table. It's not just paper and pens this year. This is a straw. Trust me, it's like an extendable straw with a cleaning thing that you clean it with. I did not keep the receipt for this stuff, so I'm going to need you guys to take it because I can't return it. I also have these sticky notes, multicolored. Use the sticky note that corresponds most to your mood when you're writing a note. And of course, I'm going to give the rest of my sponsor remarks wearing these Jones and Roth sunglasses. Make sure my kids see this on Instagram, please. I'm not actually going to do that. So please take the stuff. Don't have a lot to say about Jones and Roth. We're a CPA firm. We do accounting. We do taxes. We do taxes during a time when taxes are difficult. Taxes are continuing to be made more difficult by the onset of new taxes. Those of you who learned about the variety of new taxes that have taken place in the last few years know that that's a difficult thing for us to navigate. We navigate that not just by being extra smart or having some magic formula for taxes, but we navigate that through communication. That's our focus and priority as a CPA firm at Jones and Roth, is positive communication. As you're all probably aware, the federal COVID health emergency ended on May 11th this year, but I would suggest to you that I think we still have a couple emergencies happening that are still lingering. One of those is a workforce and staffing issue, which is what our panel is going to be about today. And one of those is, I think we still have a communication emergency that takes place in our society. I still think we are still learning, are still acclimating to communicate with each other. Maybe that's my bias as the parent of a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old who don't communicate anything very well. But I think we still have a lot to relearn and a lot to acclimate to as far as the way that we communicate. As a CPA firm, the way that we provide the services we provide is through excellent positive communication. My colleagues Brian Newton, Jordan Dolly, Teresa Rickard are here today. I see clients and friends and other CPAs down in the trenches doing this work today, and it's just exciting to be a part of this. So thank you all for attending, for being here, and now we are going to have a little panel where we are going to discuss our workforce issues. So I'm going to introduce our three panelists to you. The first panelist today is Dan Smithey, the CEO and president of Seran Bioscience. Seran is a nearly 200-employee drug development partner focused on helping biotech companies deliver life-changing treatments to patients. His career has been focused on research and process development for poorly soluble drugs, as well as building pharmaceutical development organizations. He has led new chemical entity development teams, which involve novel approaches and required multidisciplinary technology development. He's a co-founder of Agir Pharma, which was acquired by Patheon. He has authored 25 publications and is named on 34 patents and holds a PhD in physics. Our second panelist is Sam Meier, the general manager of Personalized Nutrients, a sisters-based company with 45 employees and continuing to grow. Prior to joining that team, Sam led the teams at Composite Approach and RDD Enterprises. He is passionate about developing successful and empowered people, whether professionally in the workplace or in community high school and youth sports. As a leader responsible for people, process, and procedure, Sam focuses on implementing lean manufacturing principles and organizational efficiencies with people, not to people. And our third panelist is Matt Tobolski, the president and co-founder of Redmond-based BASX Solutions, now with over 525 employees, continuing as the fastest growing manufacturing facility in Central Oregon. Matt has been involved in the engineering and manufacturing industry for the entirety of his career and is an experienced leader with a proven track record of guiding industry-leading companies through extensive growth. He is focused on building top-performing teams and empowering leaders to succeed. Will you please welcome our panel? So, I'd like the three of you, and I'll start with you, Sam, if you could provide a little bit more color about the size of your company, and also answer the question, how many employees you have now, and how many positions have you been able to fill so far this year?
Perfect, yeah, absolutely. So we are located in Sisters, Oregon. We are right next door to the former Laird buildings. We actually share a space right there with them. So being in Sisters makes it a little bit difficult for folks to get out there, but currently we're sitting at right about 45 employees. We're working with several different organizations to try to spike that and have that number go up a bit, hence we're here. But yeah, we're a growing company. We're just looking at sales over the last little bit and panic a little bit. Started to set in as far as how many people we need. But we are in process of permitting and building a new building to basically double our footprint. And all of those will need spaces for people to be able to work.
Wonderful. Matt?
Yeah, so today we have just under 530 employees. If we look kind of where that was about a year ago, we were at 360 employees. So been going through some pretty considerable growth. As an organization over the last 5 years, we've been growing about 50% a year, year over year. So it's been a very dynamic growth environment. Been a lot of positions to fill, everything from manufacturing workers up to professional engineers, accounting staff, corporate services, and certainly not without its challenges trying to grow and hire in this market.
Dan?
Yeah, great. So we're right in the middle. We're about 180 employees. Been around since 2016. I would say we've hired about 80 people in the last 9 months or so. So really rapid growth as well. I'd say, as we all know, Central Oregon is a wonderful place to live, but it's also a really challenging place to attract talent to. And we'll talk more about that later. Looking forward to it.
So you've all grown, you've all been able to hire quite a bit, and you continue to be in growth mode. So talk about the secret to that success. What's been the most effective way that you've been able to hire people in this environment? And Dan, I'll start with you.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's, Central Oregon, right? I mean, we're all here because it's just an amazing place to live. Not just the outdoor, but it's also a fantastic community. I've been here since 1993, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I travel all over the world, and I'm always get a big smile on my face when I get off the airplane at, Redmond, right? But a lot of what attracts, other than the area that we live in, our company specifically is a very science-focused company. The culture we have is sort of science first, and we really want to have a focus on patients. So a lot of what we do impacts patients' lives directly. That's very motivating for a lot of our employees. They really have that connection to what they do every day really matters. So the combination of great lifestyle, a place to do great science in a wonderful place, and that connection to doing good in the world.
Matt?
Yeah, I mean, very similar on the mindset of, what we do is impacting people. And so, as a company, as an organization, we always tell everyone we're a people-first company. And really our focus is delivering on our promises to our end customers, to our trade partners, and to our team. And so from recruiting, maintaining that mindset that everyone has an impact on delivering on that mission is a huge part of what we do. And one of the great things as well is we really focus on providing opportunities for people to support their families. Our goal is being able to bring a team of 530 some odd employees and looking at every one of those employees 15, 20 years down the road, still part of our team, and watching them grow up, buy a house, raise kids. And so creating an environment that values that from a total compensation perspective is a huge part of it. And since the acquisition, the sale of BASX to Aon with 2 A's, not 1 A, about 16 months ago, one of the huge things that's been a great part of the benefit of that is variable compensation to our team. So a lot of equity awards and a lot of profit sharing opportunities that really provide compensation that far exceeds what a base salary is for an employee. And that really provides a great reward for the success that we share as a company.
Sam?
Similar to Dan, we're a company that provides nutraceuticals to the end customer. And so providing opportunity as far as health goes, our employees get a lot out of that. So trying to bring our customers as close as we can to our employees is really important. We've also had partnerships. As far as acquiring talent to Sisters, we've had quite a few partnerships. One of them is with Pride staff and Express personnel, so the folks who are actually doing that full time. We've got a shotgun approach as far as bringing in people through Indeed and the various other forms of most companies around here. But one other strategic partnership has been, we have a couple van pools. We have one coming from Redmond, we have one coming from Bend, and we've done that with the partnership of Commute Options. So they've helped subsidize van pools to be able to get people to and from Sisters, which is a remote, obviously, and kind of a hurdle for them to get there. So partnerships has been a big thing, and then keeping people has been a big thing by attaching them to our customers and making sure that they understand what they do is important.
How long have you been using that van pools approach through Commute Options?
So we've had our Redmond van pool going for almost a year, and we actually were subsidizing the van pool from the Redmond location for about 6 months. And our Bend van pool has been up for about 3 months now. But there's now a full subsidy for providing opportunity for people to get to and from work.
So we talked about how you were able to hire. Let's get a little negative now for a second. What would you honestly perceive as the biggest barrier that you have found to filling the positions? Because I'm going to assume, like probably everybody in this room, you're never 100% successful at filling all the positions you'd like to in the time you'd like to be able to. Matt, what do you see as the biggest barrier right now to filling the positions that you need to?
Yeah, it's an interesting mix. When we look at what we have as an employment, we have a heavy weighting in the manufacturing workers that produce product. And we've actually been very successful on that side, providing competitive wages and benefits to attract employees. Where we've struggled most is in professional staff, more in the mid to late career employees. And the reason being, there's a tax that we all pay to live in Central Oregon, and that's called cost of living. And so it's difficult when we go out and recruit very talented staff, and we have to be competitive in a marketplace as well as in our industry and not overly inflate the cost point of our product. And so you have very competitive wages, and you get an employee that wants to come join the team. They value the culture, the product, they're very excited, and then they try to find a house. And they see what that costs, and they start to realize that this great salary and comp package doesn't go as far as a lot of other places in the country. And so that has been our biggest challenge is the cost of living impact. And really over the last couple of years, when we first moved here in 2014, that was not a problem. But the last 2 years have certainly made that a much bigger issue for recruitment of talented staff.
Dan, what would you say the biggest barrier has been to filling the positions you'd like to?
Oh, I'd agree with Matt almost completely. And it's really a transformation in the last 3 or 4 years, right? It's always been a tough place to live because it's isolated. So if we hire, highly educated people in our particular case, it's a risk for them to come here, right? There aren't not a lot of other options if for some reason the job doesn't work out. Now you compound that with a very expensive housing situation, and it becomes really challenging. So we found some great people in the last year, and they just weren't able to make it work financially for them. A lot of our starting wages are in the mid-80s, for people who are right out of school, and yet they still can't afford to buy a house. And so it's a real problem as we look for professional staff specifically. And frankly, even for a lot of our manufacturing people, we pay really well there. We pay in the mid-20s to 30s an hour, and yet they still have no chance of buying a house in the Bend area. So it's something the community obviously is working very hard on, but there's no easy solution to that, unfortunately.
I asked this question when we prepared. I was wondering if you could each share a brief answer. What percentage of your workforce needs to be on site, on the ground, very roughly, just for some context, Sam?
Yeah, we're about 80% for
80%?
On site in Sisters, yep.
Okay. Matt?
Yeah, within total staff, probably 90-95%. Really, it's professional staff is the only option that has remote work options for us.
Yeah, I'd say we're close to 95% as well, but we've really tried to expand now our remote workforce because obviously, if they can't afford to live here, that becomes an option for some of what we do. But we're a manufacturing organization and a laboratory-based service organization, so you have to go to work every day. 90% of our staff just has to be on site, so it's not much of an option there for us.
So let's talk about training. In general, what more is needed? And I guess you can also answer the question, how wide of a net do you need to cast for the specialized positions that you're hiring for, trying to hire in what you described as an isolated area in Central Oregon? What kind of training do we need more of in order to fill those positions, Sam?
Yeah, for us, it's very simple. We're doing almost all of our training in-house. I would say what we need the education system to do is teach kids how to think. And what I mean by that is to think critically, right? To solve problems, to work through things when things don't just go the way that they should. That's our biggest hurdle.
I have thoughts on critical thinking, again, as the parent of a 16-year-old daughter, but I shouldn't share them when it's being recorded.
I have one of those too.
What do you think we need as far as our education system?
Yeah, well, I think we're fortunate that we have OSU Cascade. So, I mean, we should all be super thankful that we have such a great, option that will grow hopefully and become a really big part of the university system in Oregon. And COCC, let's not forget about COCC. We've actually used some of their management training in the past, and it's been fantastic. And we're talking to them now about setting up a training program to help with quality GMP sort of related training issues. So I think there's a lot of options there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the focus and again, I kind of go back to the bifurcation of our talent pool, but from a manufacturing perspective, obviously work ethic is something that's kind of hard to train in school, but really having programs that do develop the trades and really have an understanding how to build things and use your hands is really a huge thing that kind of went away for a while and is really getting a resurgence from a public education perspective that we truly support. I mean, we have employees that no college education are clearing easily into the six figures. And so it's a path where you can build a career and you can really create a great life for you and your family. And really continuing to value that as a society is a huge piece of something we have to do. But just to echo as well, OSU Cascades, I mean, we are beyond excited to watch that continue to evolve from an engineering perspective, as well as participating, us and our company, trying to help develop some programs to develop more local workforce and engineering talent is something we believe in heavily.
I'm going to ask a question that was not on your list in advance. So I know, I'm sorry. We're doing good on time, but I'm really curious about this question. Gut feeling, in the past 12 months, do you feel like your situation with the ability to hire a talented workforce is improving, or do you feel that it is kind of where it has been? Anyone who wants to volunteer to answer that first? Dan?
Well, I think it's definitely better. A year ago it was almost impossible to hire anybody from anywhere, for all the reasons that we're familiar with. So it's gotten a lot better. I think the inflationary pressure on salaries has slowed down a little bit as well. But I would say the pool of eligible employees who have the right training, because we actually require for, I'd say 85% of our employees that they have at least a bachelor's degree. It's really hard to find talent still. So it hasn't really improved dramatically, a little bit perhaps.
Okay, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, very much echo that statement that it has improved. When we look at our ability to hire and recruit talent, it's definitely become easier. I will say, it's a little bit of an interesting dynamic as well as post-acquisition, the group that bought us has a huge focus on additional rewards-based compensation and variable comp programs. And so we used to feel that we had a good 401k program when BASX was privately held. When we got acquired by Aon, one of the things that was a huge windfall is rolling into their 401k. They're one of the few companies I've ever seen such a great match, but we match 175% of the employee's contribution in a 401k, and the same on HSA programs. And so kind of from a compensation perspective and an additional rewards perspective, it's been huge. And I kind of go on the other end of that is really bonus-based programs. They also do programs where it's a profit share across the organization, regardless of your position, you get the same amount of money. Yeah. So if you're a shop employee making $20 an hour, and you're getting a quarterly bonus payment, profit sharing payment of $2,500, so $10,000 a year of variable comp. It's been something that's been very good for us to be able to attract, and again, it's really the mindset of the organization, which is we take care of our people. They allow us to be successful, we want to make sure they're successful, and that mindset in these programs have really helped us continue accelerating the growth of our team.
How do you feel about the environment the last year?
Well, that's a hard act to follow.
I'm sorry, I didn't let you go before him.
Well, we got a little ways to go. It's all right. But yeah, no, I think for us, it's been the strategic partnerships that we've been encouraged to do over the last couple of years. Actually, over the last 5-6 months, as we've been really trying to grow really fast. So that's.
So we hire the employees. We've been able to get them. What is the one good idea that you would like to share as far as retention? We got the employees now. We've seen lots of turnover over the past 3 years. How do we keep the employees? Sam, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, not a problem. So what I find, right, being an employee myself, but what I find one of the most frustrating things of going to a leadership perspective is that when you don't have clear expectations of what your job is supposed to be. Having information presented in front of you that you can be held accountable to is a very fair way of being able to do work. I've also learned that listen more, speak less, mitigate relationships quickly and effectively, and just make sure you have a very just and fair system that you're trying to work and your employees are working within. So setting that up from the front end and making sure that you're held accountable as well as your senior leadership team is really important in order to maintain and retain those relationships.
Dan, thoughts about retention?
Yeah, I think a lot of like what Matt said. I mean, we have an excellent 401k program, excellent health benefits. They have a profit sharing program, and we have also a separate bonus program that's really, sort of pat on the back bonus that somebody does a great job, we'll immediately try to help compensate. So on the compensation side, the total package, we've had to really step up our game to be competitive, right? To attract people and keep them. But it's much more than just compensation, right? A lot of people come here because it's a great place to live, as we all know. So it's the culture, the lifestyle, being flexible in work, having our ability to say, yeah, you need to take a day off for whatever reason, that can just happen. And I think also, some extracurricular things. Try to be involved in the community. We have a cabana at the Hayden Homes Amphitheater that we raffle out tickets for, et cetera. It's all those little things that really matter. But fundamentally, I think it's a culture where everybody feels respected and part of the team, and everybody loves to come to work every day. It's not easy to do that every day. We all struggle sometimes to get things done the right way, but it's the whole package, I think, that matters.
Matt, what's your best advice on retention?
I mean, obviously, compensation is an important piece of it, but compensation is not where you're going to really have the retention. You're not going to build the long-term kind of team members just based on compensation. So, culture is the single most important thing that you can invest in as a company, as well as provide, to your point, great career paths. I mean, you want to show people where they can get in their careers, and so we spend a lot of time telling the story. And as BASX, we were here in 2014, so coming on 10 years pretty soon. But being able to show somebody day one your career path. Here's somebody that's now the plant manager of our facility who started off turning screws in a unit just like you are today. And so providing that career path and showing them what they can do and how they can progress and be part of a winning team, that kind of stuff is really what helps solidify long-term relationships and team members to be part of the company.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
So the final question, this is a chance for you to talk just a little bit about your company. Tell us a little bit about what you see coming up in the next year for your company. Plug whatever you'd like to plug. Dan, I'll start with you.
Sure, happy to. Yeah, so we're kind of in this stage now where we've grown almost 50% every year since the very beginning. And with that comes a lot of stress on our organization. So the last couple of years, we've really installed a lot of systems in place. And we're really excited about the future. We have several big projects that we're in the middle of completing, both construction projects for new facilities, new expansion, hopefully out in Juniper Ridge, that hopefully we'll be able to talk about here in a month or so. And I think that's going to really take us to the next level. Hopefully in a couple of years, we'll be about the size of these guys, about 500-600 employees. That's kind of our goal.
We're on a race.
But I think we're committed to the area. We think this is a great place to grow a relatively large company. Even with all the challenges we've been talking about. So I think a lot of it's providing this wonderful culture and opportunities for people to grow within the company. So we're excited about the future.
Sam, how about you? What's in store for the next year?
Yeah, we're in permitting right now for another building. So we're doubling the square footage as far as our space. So as far as the cutting edge technology, we might be talking as far as BASX and clean room.
This is another facility in Sisters.
This is another facility in Sisters. Yep. So we are committed to Sisters. We're committed to grow in that community. So now it's just a matter of finding folks to be able to fill those spots. So
good. Matt, how about you? What's the next year look like for BASX?
Yes, I mean, we're about to kick off another expansion project to the north. We were able to acquire some land directly north of the building. We continue searching for more space. We definitely need more space just kind of to build what we build. But the exciting stuff from kind of what a next year is for us is, we're just under a year and a half into the acquisition, and kind of looking at this now from an organization perspective, saying, okay, it's no longer BASX by itself on an island, but we're now part of a 4-location manufacturing company. We continue growing dynamically. And some of the exciting stuff is providing opportunities for our team to leverage this kind of fleet of manufacturing and manufacturing and engineering talent. And so one of the great parts of it is, we, as the one getting acquired, are making a huge impact on what Aon as an overall organization is doing. So much so that we actually have talent from our team now being promoted into the senior leadership team of the corporate entity, and really helping impact the organization and leveraging kind of all this manufacturing capacity. So we are, steadfast committed to continue growing in Redmond, but we're also real at the fact that, space and cost is an impact. And so we're going to continue building the BASX brand across the country, continue building up manufacturing facilities. We already have a plant down in Longview, Texas. So we're going to continue doing that and really kind of accelerating what we've done nationwide.
Sam, Matt, Dan, thank you so much for your time. Will you please thank our wonderful panel here?